I want to know, like, with this angle, because before I ever made a dollar, really, like, I kind of shared some of these similar beliefs. Like, I kind of gone down the rabbit hole and thought a different way. And then, like, for me, I think that followed me getting into health and, like, overcoming my autoimmune issues and, like, researching that. And then I went down the rabbit hole. And then I was like, fuck, the world's screwed. I need to start making money. And I arrived to that conclusion kind of last. So I want to know, like, with you, you know, being in the position that you're in and having the resources and the influence and things like that, like, what do you see as the future for, you know, people who share similar values and want to be, you know, a sovereign individual? Like, what do you think that looks like in 5 years, 10 years? And, like, what's your kind of, like, plan? Because I feel like people like you, or, you know, maybe like us in a couple more years of working and things like that, like, it's really those kinds of people who need to lead the charge against, you know, all the bullshit, basically. So I would really love to hear kind of what that looks like for you and what your thoughts are.
Look, the main thing is you need to stay, whatever you do, your source of income and your source of income, as well as your source of freedom, basically needs to come from online. Right? Like, if you're based in New York and you've got a traditional business, brick and mortar, and you have 17 employees that work for you, you're kind of fucked, right? Because at the end of the day, you're a slave to not only your state, but your country. And I mean, especially for you guys in America, you guys are really fucked. It's really, it's a pain in the ass to renounce, you know, and, you know, basically America kind of has your ass no matter what you guys do. You know, my main passport, or at least outside of, you know, when it comes to, the top 5-10 countries, is British passport. Leaving Britain was a very seamless, very easy process. The day I left Britain, I ceased to pay any tax. So you guys are just fucked on multiple fronts, because you guys are fucked on multiple fronts because you've got obviously tax, which will follow you no matter where you go until you renounce. You're also, so that's the issue. You know, you guys might decide, oh, you know what, I've got location freedom in the sense that I can go to Medellin, or I can
still gotta pay taxes.
Yeah, you still gotta pay taxes unless you renounce, and they do make that process, you know, not as difficult as places like Canada, but still, you know, pretty difficult. And then you're also fucked in terms of the sense, like, so taxes is already, like, because here's one thing you need to remember: it's until you get to, and I was slowly starting to get to that level once I left the UK. But for example, when I returned to UK, it's not like I'm ever going to need to pay tax ever again in my life. I could return back to UK in a couple years and that's it. I never pay tax again. And, you know, the tax code and tax laws and I don't even need to do any offshore bullshit. You know, the tax code is written in a way that it's actually relatively easy. But the thing is, you guys are at such a disadvantage. I mean, people are at such a disadvantage if they're watching this and their work and their source of income is dependent on a specific city or a specific country. Yeah, you're fucked. First of all, because you're dependent on that place, and second, anything you make, you keep half, right? Once you guys get to, I mean, for you boys, you make something, and then to get it net in your bank account. Let's say you boys want to, buy a nice, let's say you boys wanted to buy a nice watch, or you boys wanted to buy, a nice car or something like that. Let's say one of you guys want to get Cullinan. All right, cool. You're gonna take out the money. Well, first of all, whatever the car is gonna cost you, you're gonna spend twice as much on that. You're gonna give half to the government. So you're already at a massive disadvantage. Yep. I'm in Dubai. Most people don't realize it's a full zero tax, and they're like, no, I don't get it. Like, but what's the No, there's no stipulation. It is 0% corporate, 0% dividend, and 0% income. So the best part is I can go to Dubai, I can clean 50 million, be left with 50 million, and I can return back to UK with 50 million to 100 million, whatever the number is, in the next 5 years. And I can return back to UK and then never pay tax on that ever again.
And in this internet game, you can build the same business from Dubai as we can build here, but we're getting taxed and you're not. So you're automatically have an advantage of you can grow faster because you're not paying taxes.
So much additional velocity.
Exactly.
Yep, pretty much. And then when you take that and you put that into the context of investing as well. Like I will say the U.S. tax code is very, very good for investors. For example, the UK, it's not as good for investors, especially for landlords. In the UK is dog shit. The rules and regulations for landlords in the UK compared to the States. You guys are very sort of real estate friendly here. But yeah, I mean, you guys, look, everyone's at a disadvantage at some point until you finally find a way to escape that. obviously you boys are doing very well because you guys can go to, as I said, you guys can go to Midi, you can go to Cyprus, you can go to, wherever you want. And you guys can still run your business remotely from there. So that means that, if there's ever a case where, Miami does, and I mean, what was the state in the U.S. that passed the new purge laws? You know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking about.
It's like middle America.
I think it's up north a little bit.
I try to stay
might
out
be
of the
around
news.
might be around Michigan-ish.
Yeah, I
somewhere
think
around
it
there.
might be Michigan. I don't really look. The point is, if things go south here, and I think that's about to happen. We'll see to what extent, but that's about to happen in Europe. Because they've been talking for the past couple of years. They've been talking about a dark winter, and at first I thought that was in relation to the jib jab, because I thought it would lead to. I mean, obviously it's led to a lot of deaths, but not the extent that I thought it would have. When they said a dark winter, they meant literally, because now Germany's in a situation where, gas prices and electricity prices are 6 to 7 times what they used to be a year ago. So now people are forced to make a decision: do I keep the electricity on or do I keep the gas on? So they meant a literal fucking dark winter. It's about to get bad, and you pair that with the fact that civil unrest from the wealth gap, which has just even grown further in the last 2-3 years,
really bad.
It's a scary situation. So you guys, of course, are at an advantage, which is if things go south, which in the U.S. I don't know if they'll go south necessarily. I think Europe is the one that I'm far more concerned about. But if that happens, you guys can pack your shit and leave.
And so
I do think Miami's good, but continue.
I think Miami will be fine. Just because
for right now.
For right now, I think Miami has a little bit of a cushion around it. But I'm really curious. So you think everything just because I could to be honest, I have my family, whatever. But I would not really have a problem renouncing in a year or two or something like that.
If it got bad enough, I would. I
would have no problem doing that. I don't really care either way. But do you think that the answer is then just everybody just kind of becomes a relative elite financially, and the people that can do that do it and become a ghost, and that's just it? That's that's your. I mean, that's nothing wrong or right or wrong with that. I'm just
it depends.
clarifying.
It depends what you want, honestly. The thing is, I grew up in UK. I grew up in London, but I never felt British.
Yeah.
So for me, I had no issue leaving. Whereas I understand for you guys, and I roast America, but then you guys love your country, and I do think there's something very admirable about that.
I would correct you on one part. Is I love the idea of what it used to be, but what it is now is ridiculous. It's a clown show, dude.
Then look, if the money's right, for me, I think once you get to $50,000-$60,000 a month,
it's pretty low compared to. Okay.
Once you get to $50,000-$60,000 a month, I think it's worth moving.
Really?
Yeah, because look, if you're making $60,000 a month, as I said, I know you can have a C corp and you can keep the money in there and you can try to expense as much shit in your life and you can try to do all of this funny stuff. But at the end of the day, if you move to a place like Dubai, and there are other zero income jurisdictions, a lot of them are boring except for from Dubai. Then at the end of the day, you make $60,000 and you keep $60,000. Whereas here, if you want a net in your bank account to spend wherever you want, not just business expenses, you're going to keep 30. And, well, I guess you guys are in Miami, so a little bit more than that. Let's say 38. But the point is, you guys are getting fucked. There's no other way around it.
It's true. It's true.